Hey everyone, this is Lisa from Life in Layouts, and today I'm using the sketches for the 6x6 paper pad. It's a class, it's a 21-page sketches. This is paid content, so I unfortunately cannot show you the sketch. I am going to be using Echo Parts Imagine That. This is the girl version. They also have a boy version of it. This one-page sketch is going to be focused on the left-hand side of the layout. On the right-hand side of the layout, I am going to get 10 photos. And what I decided to do was use the inspiration of a page protector that has pocket pages. There is a page protector that has 4x6s and then a set of 3x4s in the center, and that takes up the full 12x12. Well, I had taken all of these photos and made them 3x4. So what I decided to do was use that same design with the portrait size photos on the left and right, and then the landscape photos in the center. And what that gave me, because I used 3x4s instead of 4x6s, was about 2 inches of pattern paper that's going to be on the far right hand side. And I love the way that this layout came out, because this is going to give me 13 photos on a double page layout, which is a perfect amount for a birthday party, which is what these photos are. This is photos of my friend's daughter, and they had a little birthday party at home for her. This was during 2020, so obviously we had lots of restrictions at that time. So I was able to even get in a photo of her sitting at the table showing off a gift, which I am assuming is a birthday gift, obviously, that she's showing off to her grandmother on an iPad. And I think that those type of things, while 2020 was a difficult year for a lot of people, showing that was how we survived and how we lived. We still celebrated birthdays in 2020, and sometimes we had to do it through FaceTime to make sure that, you know, grandma was able to see the presents that we got and things like that. While I was talking about all of that, what I was doing was I was cutting out these 1-inch strips, and I used my banner punch from Close to My Heart to cut banners on the edge. And right now I am just going through and making a pattern with the different pieces. I did have to coordinate some of the pieces because there were images on them. Like one of the pieces of paper had a little girl doll and some teapots and things like that. So I wanted to make sure that the orientation of those were actually right. So you can see here, this is where I'm actually going to end up cutting out another piece because the orientation didn't look right, and the doll was like sitting on its side. So I kind of had to really pay attention to what I was cutting out to make sure that I had the right orientation. And I think that was the only one. The other ones were kind of just whimsical paper that I could use. And so this is another one of those collections where I was able to use so much pattern paper. You see all that pattern paper on there, and because I used it in such a small dose in those 1-inch sizes, and I just put them at the top and the bottom, it doesn't overwhelm the layout by having that much pattern paper. If I was to do full strips of them, that pattern paper would be an eyesore. But having it just at the top and the bottom really separates it, and it frames the 3 photos that I'm going to put in the center of this left-hand side of the layout. So I've said this before, but I don't worry about it lining up. I'm okay with, you know, cutting off little slivers. My friends, when we are together, sometimes call me the paper shaver because I do this, because I'm just shaving off just a little bit. I think that your layouts being a little less than 12x12 actually makes them fit a little bit better in the albums, especially if you're doing, you know, double pages and you're doing lots of fun foam and adding your photos up and things like that. It does can make a big difference. All right, so I'm gonna definitely use my T-square ruler and play around with this quite a bit because I'm trying to make sure that I have enough space or equal amounts of space between the photos, which that was a pain to make sure. And this is where you can see that I have that like almost 2 inches over to the right hand side. And at first I thought I was just going to do a white background, but once I get it down and in the correct position, I'm going to go ahead and just cut out a small frame. And then what I decided to do was add a piece of pattern paper. So this, again, floral paper is super busy, and I don't think that I would ever use that by itself. I did go ahead and gut it since I'm going to be putting a large piece on top of it, but you can see that I have that 2-inch space over there to the left, and so that gives me that extra place that I'm able to embellish. If you do gut your paper, you want to make sure that you make sure that it's stuck down. So I use some washi tape on the back to make sure of that. I went ahead and added the banner over to the far left that says Dream Big, which I think is a perfect little banner or kind of subtitle because my title is actually just going to be Happy Birthday. This Imagine That collection was perfect for this birthday theme because she had a unicorn cake. And so you can see it there in the top left of the right hand side. That cake was gorgeous, and so when I saw these pictures I was like, oh my goodness, Imagine That has a bunch of unicorns in it, and so I will be able to use the unicorns and it'll go with the photos so well. So I was able to pull out 2 different unicorns. You can see the one on the right hand side, she looks like she is kind of up on her hind legs, and then the one on the left that I'm working on is the unicorn laying down. So I went ahead and pulled out these thickers that I have in my stash that are gold, and there's not really any gold in the layout, so I do go ahead and make sure to add that to the clusters so that I have good representation. I went ahead and added the happy in that font there, and then there were chipboard thickers that came with this, and I really like this font. It doesn't have the like inner pieces cut out, so like for the B, R, D, A, and Y, they're just solid, so they look very different, and it is kind of hard to see in the video, but trust me, you can really see that word birthday in real life. So I go ahead and add a gold piece over to the far left so that I can make sure that I have the gold represented on both sides. And then I have these navy foam stickers from Chamel that I picked up at Tuesday Morning, and they're like navy and glitter, and so I added a heart to each one of the 3 clusters as well. All right, guys, so here is my final layout as well as some close-ups. I still amaze myself that I was able to get 13 photos on this layout. So really, really awesome way to document a birthday and making sure that you can get lots of photos on a layout. All right, guys, if you enjoyed this video, if you wouldn't mind giving me a thumbs up, I'd really appreciate it. If you haven't done so already and you want to see more double page layout inspiration, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Thanks everyone for watching, and I hope that you have a scrappy day.